In this episode of the IT Experts podcast, we ask Stuart, what should the people structure of my MSP look like? Welcome to the IT Experts podcast, the only podcast to help MSPs scale to 1 million, and if already there, get to 5 and go faster. At the end of the day, isn't it all about building a business that works for you rather than you for it? I hope you enjoy the show. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the IT Experts podcast. Back in the house, we have Mr. Stuart Warwick. Good afternoon, Stuart. How are you today?
Afternoon, Ian. Very well indeed.
Fantastic. Now, the next episode of the Ask Stuart series, we're talking about people and we're talking about the structure of your MSP and what it should look like. Historically, many MSPs are extremely flatlined in terms of accountability, and they've just built up lots of different technicians all at the same level. But it becomes a point, doesn't it, when this question is very, very important, isn't it, Stuart, to how scalable your MSP can be, how confident you are to delegate, and more importantly, today we're actually going to overcome how on earth you work this one out, don't we? It's really, really interesting question, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the key question, actually, because it's all about leverage. And whilst we've talked about on other podcasts, the need to have profitability and invest that profit into the scalability and the growth of your business, this piece is about, I've got a team, but have I got the team that's going to allow me to scale from where I am confidently without me having to do all of the work or continue to do all the work? And I think this is the key thing, because what got an MSP to wherever they are now, and the world that we encounter them is in that space called Drive. They're somewhere between 250, 650, 700k, and the business is okay, but actually it's not working for them, they're working for it. And the next step is, well, I've got a team, how do I optimize that team? And in what order and where do I start? And that's the tricky piece, because it's okay generally.
So let's just, what I'm going to do throughout this series is we're going to start taking out some of these acronyms and little sayings that we say. When someone says, for the avoidance of doubt, when someone says the business is not working for you, you're working for it. What does that look like with most MSPs?
Well, it's the difference between having what is a great lifestyle business, but you're key to it, or having a true business asset where you're building an asset that can actually function without you. You're not important to it if you want to not be involved. And that's a choice every business owner has. And so there's nothing wrong with either. But actually, with a lifestyle business, you are the business generally. And so therefore you are working for it and it isn't working for you. But a true business is where the business works for you and you're not working for it. In our world, there's 4 levels of maturity. Survive, which is startup, and then drive, which is the phase we're kind of talking about now, somewhere between 250 and 650, 700. And then there's thrive and arrive. And you need different things at different levels. And this is where the structure of your team starts to really mature, or need to start maturing, because it needs to start not involving you. So you've probably got 3 or 4 people. It's okay, but the question arising usually for most people is, they're okay, but have I really got the right people to take the next step and to scale up, where you start perhaps identifying 1 or 2 people that could be good managers or leaders around you, instead of just having you and 2 or 3 other techs and maybe an admin. And the symptoms at this stage is, I still have to keep coming up with all the ideas. It all keeps coming back to you, and that isn't scalable. You need others to step up into that supervisory management and leadership role. And as a result, it can feel like when you're not present, the business is a bit flat, it's a bit dysfunctional even. It's okay. And this is my point, it's okay. But if your ambition is to build a business that truly works for you, is a business asset and has that ability to maximize value at exit, and not everybody wants to sell, but actually to maximize profit against effort that you have to put in. So your effective hourly rate could be something like £10,000 an hour if you're working 1 day a week and drawing 100, 200 grand a year out of it. But if you're working 80 hours a week still in that business and drawing 100 grand or 200 grand, that's great, but your effective hourly rate is much lower because you're actually part of the engine of the business. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, and some of the words that we hear a lot of the time, to kind of wrap around that is it's just hard work, isn't it? You've been running the business for maybe 5, 10, even 15, maybe even 20 years, and you're getting somewhere, but this is kind of like some of the secret sauce, isn't it, around the leadership people. And I remember that when you and I got together, we had a massive passion for leadership. And I think even on that first meeting, we totally underestimated how much every single MSP needs a certain level of leadership knowledge to get their team to help them to grow faster and to go faster. Because when a business is hard work and you don't really seem to be moving forwards, it's your team that's going to help you paddle that boat stronger against the currents, against the economy, and in a much better position.
Yeah, it is, and there's two sides to that equation. One is your systems and automation, and that's a whole different podcast around getting your PSA set up so that works well with the team, and obviously your finances and the efficiencies and process opportunity that lies in there is enormous. The other bit is the people. You can't avoid building a business in this day and age without people. And as much as many technical business owners would like to, and the people side is sometimes a really bit of a scary place, particularly as you start to grow. And if you want to grow, you can't just run it off your personality. 4 of you in one room or one office is easy to knit everybody together. But as you start to get bigger, you have more rooms in your office, different floors, different locations.
Yeah.
The leadership piece becomes much more complex, and there's a more mature approach needed to it. But it doesn't mean you're working harder. It just means you're working smarter, leveraging your leadership and communication skills as opposed to your technical skills and your ability to do the work.
So Stuart, in your view, what is the thing that holds the business owners back, the MSP business owners back, when they know they need to do something with their team? They can see other people that have got successful teams and they're structured in a different way, but there's just a blocker, isn't there? What's kind of going on in their heads right now?
It's fear of change. It's fear of change and fear of it not working on 2 levels. One is the investment, perhaps hiring another person, perhaps paying more than you might have paid before because they're more experienced, they're more senior. The fear of change in doing that, the fear of the cost of it not working. But also there's a fear, and it's unconscious even though you want to let go, of letting go.
Yeah.
And that is kind of that's the transformational pivot point for the business gaining the momentum to scale with not needing you, as opposed to staying stuck needing you. And until some business owners just sail straight through that point. Yeah. But the majority haven't had to be people managers and have been the expert in their business, and so that letting go piece is the hardest bit, even though consciously they think they can and they're not the problem. It's generally the business owner that is the problem.
And what's the number one thing that you would advise any MSP to do to get out? It's kind of getting out your own way land, isn't it? Getting out your own way and letting go.
Getting it's trite, and it's a cliche, and we talk about these cliches a lot on these podcasts, but these cliches are true. There's truth that lies in them, and it's stop, think about what you need, get a plan, look at that future organizational structure, and there's like 1 or 2 roles. If only I had a person to do that, and I could move that from that person to this person, whether it's a sales admin person you're hiring to pick up all of the low level tasks, or whether it's a service delivery manager that you're hiring for the first time. Map out, listen to the noise, listen to your frustrations, and go, how do I solve this? Either through automation and process, we're not talking about that today, but where it's a people thing, it's like, well, how do I step into that? It leads into, we talked about in the last forecast, understanding your numbers, being able to look at your P&L forecast and look at your budgets and go, can I afford another person? And even if we can't, sometimes we know, because of what's coming down the pipe from existing clients and the amount of project, but actually we need to hire what we call ahead of the curve. The profit hasn't quite landed, but we've got that absolute confidence in the momentum of the business that, do you know what, I just need to keep the momentum going. Otherwise we're going to stagnate and get stuck. And that's the thing that we're so passionate about, you and I, is that we see MSPs that have got stuck in that sometimes uncomfortable but comfort zone piece, where they just don't get the time, the space, the accountability, the clarity to see the wood from the trees, to see how they can step into scaling the business confidently and hiring that first next extra person, or reorganizing the structure of the people they've already got. The answer is generally right in front of you, but it's getting that time and confidence to stop and start doing something slightly differently.
It's funny, isn't it? Because once you start to get momentum, and this is when you've got that blocker and you can't move, you as you say, you get stuck. But once you start to get that momentum and you make that hire, and then you bring in the certain person and they're really good, and then you've got some time back. Mm-hmm. You look at things like account management and new sales and marketing, and then all of a sudden you're filling your pipeline up. Guess what? I'm back recruiting again. Then you bring in another one, and you kind of flip-flop between the two, between the sales and marketing. And when you get that nailed and you get your process right for recruiting the right people, it just gets better and quicker and faster, doesn't it, every single time you do it?
It's amazing the lift in energy when you make that decision to go look for someone and then hire them, and then see the positive impact they have, a month or two later when they're starting. And we only had that last week. Client very frustrated in August, September, trying to find an admin person, but a really important role that was dragging her back down to the low-level tasks of the business. And it took 8 weeks, maybe 9 weeks, but I think it was third week in last week, she was reporting at last she's seeing the impact of this person joining. Brilliant. And can see them now moving forward into more productive activity in the business to grow it.
So what are some of the other things that we need to consider when we're, what does this structure look like? How do I kind of visualize a structure, fill it, map it out? We've just mentioned about building a plan and what that looks like and how that's together. But what are the other elements that
take stock. Right. You've got to take stock. You've got to look at what you've got and assess it. And in our language, when we're working with clients, it's like, right, we need to do a RAG analysis of the existing team. We need to apply and understand the genius model that sits behind each individual, and yourself. Don't forget that, are you in the right role for this business to step into its potential, for its future growth? And you might need to say, do you know what, I need to completely get out of the technical side. I need to go do more sales or marketing, the account management, and go and talk to the clients. That's usually the next step, because the business owner is generally the best salesperson or account manager of the business at this stage in the business. So take a good look at the team, take an inventory of the team. Have I got the right people in the right roles? And listen to your gut. You don't need anything super complex. Is that person in the right role at level 1? What does he or she need to step up to become a level 2, or to become more competent at level 1? Level 2, level 3, my service delivery manager, my finance person, my admin person. We've had dispatchers and sales admin people turn into account managers and given the opportunity. So don't forget to look at what's under your nose within your existing team before you go looking outside. And to do that, you need to communicate. Guys, we're at this point, we need to start doing things differently. Who's interested in stepping into doing more talking to clients? You know whether your team like people or don't like people, or more process orientated or technical orientated. The potential potentially lies within your team, but if it doesn't, then we need to look at the budgets and then look at recruitment and not delaying. The longer we delay, the longer we stay stuck where we are. The most important thing to remember is we need to recruit into the gaps that we've identified, and the quicker we do that, the quicker we inject, we turn a 4-stroke into a 6-stroke, and a V6, V8, and as a result we can go faster. But it takes time, so the longer you wait, it still takes that time, and that's when we lose momentum. The other thing to really, really be careful about, and this is where we can get in our own way, Ian, is mediocrity. Just because it's okay doesn't mean it's okay for the next step. It was okay for now. And mediocrity, it's like comfortable, it's okay, but have you really got the right team? Or have you really got that right person as your account manager, or as your support manager, or your SDM? Or are you just putting up with a comfort blanket because you don't want to change things and you don't want to have difficult conversations? And we've had podcasts talking about people performance management. And so, to get the best out of people, you need to performance manage them, which all sounds very negative, but actually it's a positive. Sitting down on a frequent basis and reviewing, what are they doing? How are they getting on? What do they need to do next? What do they want to do next? And where do they want to go next with their career? With you. those conversations are priceless, and they overlap to this 3 to 5 year future structure that you're crafting here, that we're talking about, because then you know that this apprentice is really ambitious, and you can see that in his behaviour, because he's doing all his certifications and he's getting passing his apprenticeship exams. He is demonstrating that he is motivated, so therefore stretch him, stretch her.
And it's funny, isn't it, because many of the initial part of the plan we're talking about today, about the structure in your team, when you have those difficult conversations, just by having a difficult conversations with someone who you think sitting there is slacking off a little bit, or they're not doing as much work as other people, or the quality's not quite there, if you just have that conversation. And we recently did a podcast with Julie, one of our leadership coaches, around the art of having a difficult conversation. Can't think of the number to me right now, but if you scroll back a few pages on your podcast page, it will be there. And it was absolutely brilliant on how to get out of your own way and have those conversations, and that will instantly lift and energize the team, won't it? Because the people who maybe slacking or maybe not performing as well will all of a sudden go, hang on a minute, I've been caught out here, do you know what, this isn't quite right. And we talk about the expectation exchange, don't we, all the time, and then other people will see that person's been held to account, and then they'll be happier that things have been taken. And it's just unbelievable, the ripple effect of having a difficult conversation in your MSP. Even if you only take one thing away. And I know this podcast called Ask Stuart, well, I'm butting in because I've got something that's like this, that's bubbling in the head. It's just so powerful, isn't it?
Hugely powerful. And it always reminds me of Mark, who last summer had a small, tight team, but he felt they were great, but they were mediocre.
Yeah.
But he sat down and spoke to them about the vision, the ambition, the thoughts he had around the extra roles he needed, absolutely transformed them. What he hadn't done was actually sit down and talk to them about the plans he had for the business. He'd assumed that they kind of could read his mind and understood, the energy and ambition that he had. As a result, his level 2 tech completely was like transformed. Fantastic. From one week to the next, and started moving into account management areas and transformed his behaviour and how he showed up.
That was brilliant. Thanks, Stuart. And just before we wrap up, I just want to remind everybody on this call that if you've heard some things that resonate, and you've heard some things about, okay, I need to get my team in place because I know that I want to be, I am ambitious and I want to grow and scale the business. We're going to invite you to come and take the MSP Mastery Quiz, which gives you, in 3 minutes, a 360-degree scan of your MSP and helps you identify the 1 or 2 tactics that's more than likely holding you back, that's going to help you generate more time, engage and align your people, and also generate more leads. We're going to put the link in the show notes. Really simple, super simple. You get a personalised report. It's really, really useful. So I just want to put that out to everybody today to go and take that if you are curious about how you really bring your people to life. So, Mr. Warwick, final thoughts on this important subject?
Don't procrastinate. Don't put it off. Don't accept mediocrity, because if there's that burning desire to grow a business beyond a lifestyle business, then you need to build the structure around you. You need leverage, and leveraging your people is a huge part of that equation. Go do it.
Fantastic. Thanks very much. Cheers, Stuart. Thanks for that one. I look forward to catching up with you on the next.
See you next time.
So I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, I'd love it if you could leave a rating and review on your favourite podcast platform. If you want to learn more about how to take your MSP to $1 million, or if you're already there, go faster, then come and join Stuart Warwick and myself in the Scale with Confidence Facebook group. The link is in the show notes. You go and enjoy the rest of your day, and I look forward to connecting with you soon.